Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the weekly Dragon Ball news recap. This week we have a ton to break down, including a Dragon Ball and Burger King crossover merchandise promotional event, which of course would imply that Beerus is just around the corner. Also some anime leaks, not just for the release date for Dragon Ball Super the Galactic Patrol, but also another project in development. No news yet on if it's a movie or an anime, but we'll break that down, as well as some other stuff like an update on how much money Dragon Ball is making, and, believe it or not, a Dragon Ball theme park update. Now, a little bit weird how I'm going to break this all down, but I'll have timestamps so you can go ahead and skip through the video if you want to just watch one particular subject or topic. Whatever. First, let's start off here. So originally, DBS Hype posted this image, which came from Toei Animation themselves, and they're basically just giving a rundown of all the stuff they have in development. And as you can see here, in 2027, they have Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. Then in 2026, they have all the stuff that we know is coming. Dragon Ball Super Beerus, like I said, is probably coming within the next couple of months, obviously. And then Dragon Ball Super the Galactic Patrol is over here in TBA. A lot of people thought this meant, okay, so it's confirmed for 2028, right? Because it's not in the 2027 part. Vanessa says, guys, the Galactic Patrol anime not being listed in the 2027 section is simply because they still haven't announced an official release date. TBA doesn't necessarily mean it's coming after 2027. These documents never reveal that kind of information ahead of time. They just reflect what has been made public so far. Then this person responds with, I don't think it's any surprise in here, at least for me. I was hoping that the Galactic Patrol will air the earliest on November or December 2027. Then Vinixis says, yeah, that's the goal, around October. So Vinixis is a pretty reliable source, very trustworthy, and it looks like still at this point the release time frame is around October, which is roughly where we're already working, right? There's already the idea that Dragon Ball Super Beerus will release in October this year as well, so that's very interesting and very cool to see that it seems like October is going to be like, I guess, the Dragon Ball hype time, right? And then he also replied to DBS Hype, who originally said, planned future works. Vinixis says future works already announced with a devil emoji. So he knows he's being a bit devious with this one, a bit cheeky, however you want to put it, and is kind of putting out there into the ether that not only are we getting Xenoverse 3, we're not only getting the Dragon Ball Super Beerus anime, and we're not only getting the Dragon Ball Super Galactic Patrol anime, there's something else in development. Now, who knows what is exactly in development? Just future works is a broad term, but obviously future works would mean, you know, video games or movies or TV shows, because that's what they're working with here. So probably not like talking about a DLC expansion pack for a game that's already existing or anything like that, because the post that it is replying to is with the context of video games, movies, and shows. So that being said, what it appears to me is that we are probably looking at maybe another video game, a movie, or show. So I think it's far less likely to be a show, obviously, because we already have the Beerus anime and we have the Galactic Patrol anime. And if there's something else in here, it would probably be a video game, if I had to guess. So that's what I'm personally guessing. Maybe a Dragon Ball Super Kakarot type video game or something along those lines. I know there were some rumblings about that, so that would have to be my guess, but like I said, that's just a guess. I have no proof or evidence of that. All we know right now is future works already announced, asterisk. So there's some future works that they have in development that they're not announcing yet that is coming within the next year or two. So very interesting update there. Now, the more interesting thing is that Vinixis had somebody reply to him saying, Vinixis implying that there are more works that could actually be announced in coming years. And then Vinixis says much earlier, so that's why I was saying this year, next year, something like that. So they have something interesting in development that's going to be announced much earlier than the coming years. So, of course, coming years, that's a broad term. You could say 2 to 3 years. So, maybe within this year or next year, we'll get an announcement of something else. So, like I said, I think they're good on TV shows. My guess would be a movie or a video game. A movie could be cool, especially if the Dragon Ball Super anime ends, like they adapt the Dragon Ball Super Galactic Patrol, and then it ends, and they still have the manga, so hopefully by then the manga will be back and running. And then what they could do is give the manga more time to get ahead and just do a movie. That could actually be cool, to do a movie original story in basically alternate years. That way there's still Dragon Ball content coming out. And personally, I would love it if you could not have the Dragon Ball Super manga adapt every movie. Maybe do like a one chapter that comes out during that movie's release, where you basically recap that movie in one chapter. I really did enjoy the Dragon Ball Super Hero or Super Superhero manga, but I think the biggest problem was it was a little bit too long and not really necessary. We already had the movie. I enjoyed what they added to it. I especially love the prequel arc and the sequel arc. I think that's what they should do when it comes to movies. Do a prequel arc for the movie and the manga, and then do like maybe a few pages dedicated to recapping the events of the movie. Then you can do an epilogue chapter. That's, I think, what they should do to tie into the movies. At that point, it's just like maybe, 2 or 3 months of your time dedicated to handling the movie. Maybe a little bit like 4 or 5 months, and that's it. You don't need to do what they did with the superhero arc. So that's just my 2 cents, but yeah, could be a movie, could be a video game. We'll just have to wait and see. Alright, and a bit of an update when it comes to how much money Dragon Ball is making. So I typically always make videos about these sorts of things because I always find it very interesting. So the Toei financial result of the first quarter of the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027. So from April 1st to June 30th. One Piece is in first place with 6.4 billion yen. Dragon Ball is in second place at 5.9 billion. And Digimon is at 775 million in third place. Now, the interesting thing is that DBS Philosopher followed up this tweet with, "Great start for Dragon Ball already even before DBS Beers started airing. At the same time last year, Dragon Ball had 5.1 billion yen, while this year, Dragon Ball has already started with 5.9 billion yen. And in the upcoming months, Dragon Ball should start gaining momentum thanks to Dragon Ball Super." Which is a great point. So this time last year, Dragon Ball was at 5.16 billion yen. This time around, it's at 5.9 billion yen. Now, still following behind One Piece, but keep in mind, One Piece is having its moment right now. They have their anime stuff. I think they have some video game stuff. They have the live action stuff going on. So One Piece is having its moment in the sun, and it's not being slowed down. The manga is still coming out. Whereas Dragon Ball, it's basically run up against the wall and has halted, and it's basically been frozen for a while. And Dragon Ball Super Beerus is going to be at the start of it thawing out, basically. Hopefully you understand the analogy. So I'm expecting once Dragon Ball gets on its feet, up and running again, this 5.9 billion yen is going to be a lot higher. Alright, any LEGO fans in the audience, we have some new information about the first wave of Dragon Ball Z LEGO, courtesy of BrickTab News. So, full transparency, I'm not too big into LEGO, but I figured this was interesting enough to cover for the video, because LEGO's, I think, big, right? It's still popular, so I'm sure there are some LEGO fans who would like to know what's going on with this. LEGO DBZ April 2027 Wave, currently rumored sets. Unknown polybag. I think a polybag is like little figures, right? The little Lego figures where you get, little stuff. So, I don't know. Goku versus Raditz. Arrival on Namek. Z Fighters versus Saiyans. Parengan the Final Battle. Frieza Spaceship. Kame House. Unknown set. Buildable Vegeta. All sets said to include minifigures. Sources report seeing minifigures including Goku, Frieza, Vegeta, and the entire Ginyu Force. They are said to be very high quality with many new molds. Runga in the Final Battle, Frieza Spaceship, Kame House, Buildable Vegeta, The unknown set, if I had to guess, would probably be Trunks, right? Because just following with the timeline, it seems like maybe they're going to do the Trunks set and have it be an epilogue to the Frieza set because they have the Frieza set here. And so maybe they'll have like Mecha Frieza and Trunks. That's just a guess. I'm not big into Lego, but I figured that would be what they do there. So yeah, there you go. There's your Lego news. Very interesting stuff. I'm really curious to see how these Dragon Ball Lego are going to come out looking, because every Lego I've ever seen, I've never really seen like the regular Lego minifigs with the spiky, exuberant, you know, wacky hair. Like Raditz, for example. How are they going to translate Raditz into a Lego? So I'm very curious to see how they actually pull this off. Alright, so you might say this next segment will include some reactions. So basically what I'm going to be doing is going over this video from the Kadia City people about the Dragon Ball theme park. So this whole thing is like interesting, a little weird, I guess you could say. Apparently some people are really into it and some people are like really against it. I figured the best thing I can do is just, you know, cover this video and kind of basically do a reaction to it. So, according to Vinixis, this was from 2024, but it never really made the rounds until he actually included it in an article that he did. So, let's go ahead and take a look and see what they have to say.
Good. Let's do our thing. Absolutely. Born ready.
Okay. What excites you most about the Dragon Ball theme park?
Dragon Ball theme park is to push all the boundaries of theme park design. We're going into attractions.
Okay, so just right off the bat, this is a very ambitious CGI preview of what they want to do. I don't know if it's going to be like this because, you know, theme parks don't really look like this, but it's Saudi Arabia. I think they have like limitless amounts of money, so who knows.
We're going into attractions and technology, a level of world building and immersion that we've never seen before, even at the world's best theme parks. The fans around the world have been waiting their whole lives to see this come to fruition.
I'll be honest, Dragon Ball theme parks, that's something I talked about whenever I was doing my Dragon Ball Online playthrough. In one of the videos, and I specifically remember talking about that because whenever this came up, I remember back to that. This does not look like how I imagined a Dragon Ball theme park would look. Of course, it's CGI, but it just looks too like hyper realistic and a little weird. So I'll go ahead and let them sell me on it, obviously, but I just don't understand how you could make this vision come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? But we'll wait and see.
We have true fans that are part of our design team that really know every nuance about this IP. It has the realms and environments that allow us to now go deep.
Okay, so this is a little bit more realistic. I guess the CGI like mock-up stuff was making you think of something a little bit crazier, but like it's not going to look this good. Like this, I think this is a look at Kame's Lookout, and they have it up on a hill. It's not going to look like this. It's not. I don't understand how they think they're going to make it that big, because that's a huge like what are they? I don't know. Like I said, I'm a little bit skeptical about this, but it looks. I mean, it looks like good concept art. I think from this concept art, they can make something good. Like they could do the tournament arena easily. They could do Kame House with all the water. They could even do the Red Ribbon Army base. But stuff like Corrin Tower, that would have to be a ride that you know. I think with the Corrin Tower they could probably do a ride where you like I forgot the name of it, but you basically get strapped into this chair and it takes you up to the top and then you go straight down. I think that's the only way you could do Corrin Tower. I don't think you can actually make it something with an elevator where you go up to the top. That's just my opinion. So maybe that's what they're looking at here. Maybe this Kame's Lookout thing isn't going to be a place where you like go up to Kame's Lookout and you see it, and it's just like something they've built for you to look at from the ground, but you can't go there? I don't know.
Deeper into the lore of Dragon Ball, not only to deliver to what fans may think they want, but go deeper and actually execute things that they may not even know they wanted. That's how far this is going.
It will take more than just designing a theme park with IP involved. We really need to play this guardianship role to protect that vision and maintain the respect for the Dragon Ball IP throughout all of the design process.
There's a burden of responsibility that we take really seriously. The fan base is incredibly passionate. This art is sacred to the people that love Dragon Ball.
Okay, so the Beerus' planet thing, that looks more realistic. Like I said, it looks like the castle isn't like this big, ambitious thing, and it looks like it's just smaller as it goes up. So, like, some of this stuff looks realistic, and then some of it just looks like they're never going to be able to pull it off, so... But again, it's just concept art. I'm probably getting too hung up on it.
This art is sacred to the people that love Dragon Ball.
We've been working with IPs for decades now, but this is one of the most profound and epic IPs. And so being able to be championing this IP into the realms of reality is very exciting for us.
You can't go somewhere without finding a Dragon Ball fan. And designing a park with an IP this iconic has been a unique honor and a particular challenge. It's not so simple to just build something or create something that you think is cool. It has to work.
And that stretches beyond just the look and feel of the space. It's in the infrastructure, it's in the engineering, it's in food and beverage and retail and all aspects of this park.
Those nuances and those sensitivities really get filtered into every level of our design from the ground up.
The park is going to be fully immersive. So I think just when guests walk through that gate and they get to experience that, I think that's going to blow the fan base away.
Okay, cool. Alright, so it looks like you had like a... What was that? I thought I saw like a roller coaster or something here at the end.
That blow the fan base away.
Yeah, okay, so they had a little roller coaster going through the mountain, going around the dragon. That's cool. Now this right here, this is cool and realistic. So, like I said, so it looks like their plan is to have this amazing vision. Where's the map at? Where is the map of the whole park? It looks like, here it is. It looks like their plan is to have this amazing vision of what they could do and then execute on what they can do, basically. Because, like I said, this one thing I'm getting really hung up on is the Kami Lookout thing. Like, again, you probably could do this, but this is going to be super expensive. Now, like I said, this is Saudi Arabia. From what I understand, they're really rich, and this should be executable. But we're talking like a project beyond the levels of what Disney World can do. That's interesting. And this is part of an even bigger park that they got going on, like a city or something like that. Like I said, very interesting stuff here. And if you do want to know more and go even more in depth, Vinixis wrote an article called Dragon Ball Theme Park, Everything We Know So Far. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to his article in the description, but there it is right there if you want to just type it in yourself. I skimmed through it just to kind of prepare myself for it. And basically what they're doing is this will be ready probably by 2030 based off their projections, and they're also doing one in France. Pretty cool stuff. Like I said, it's very ambitious. I don't know how they're going to pull off some of their concepts, but if they do, this would be amazing. And absolutely amazing for Dragon Ball fans. So I'm really excited to an extent, right? I don't want to oversell it because I personally am probably never going to be able to experience this for myself. Maybe I'll be able to watch videos of people going there and doing it. I think there's something fun about watching videos of theme parks and things like that. But if you want to know more and go even more in depth about the making of this whole thing behind the scenes, go ahead and give Vinixis' article a read through. Alright, and last topic of the video, the Burger King and Dragon Ball Super collab. Now, it's apparently going to be happening around September, if I've got it right. Okay, yeah, September. So, we're looking at September. That kind of gives you a good idea of whenever the Dragon Ball Super Beerus anime is going to be coming out. Probably more along the lines of September, maybe even October at the latest. So, we're looking for, like, maybe October, right? Because September next month, that might be a little too soon, you know, too short notice, so maybe October. So here's some leaked images here. So we have Burger King crowns of Dragon Ball Super characters, Super Saiyan sauce, and some leaked images of what looks like a menu for the meal. Okay. Now, DBS Hype posted this, and then I guess a Burger King employee went ahead and provided their... I'm not a Burger King employee, I've never worked for Burger King, but it looks like some sort of material that they were handed, that they were looking at on a computer for like some sort of meeting or something to go over the meal. So they're going behind the scenes and even giving you like, ooh, drives affinity with Gen Z through multi-sensorial beverages, I guess. Additional pulse of nugget elevation news. Collectible figurine with pack purchase. So, interesting, I guess, right? So, this is a little bit of a better look at what we could expect. So, I won't lie, I'm probably going to buy these. The cups look cool. And it looks like this is very specifically the Goku render that we've been seeing more and more of recently. And the little figurine looks cool. I'm really curious to see what Super Saiyan sauce even is. Like, what the heck? What is Super Saiyan sauce? Anyways, I thought this would be a fun little topic to end the video on just because it's so random and out of nowhere, but it also makes sense. Recently, they did a Mandalorian and Grogu collaboration with Burger King, and I got all 4 cups. I felt pretty cool about that. I'm assuming they're going to make even more cups for Dragon Ball, right? Maybe Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, maybe 3 cups. I don't know. I don't know how many cups they can make. But the little figurines are cool too. So, now I will say this. This Burger King employee was asked USA, and she said, yeah, so there you go. There you have it. USA, most likely. Now, this is from a Burger King employee. I believe they're a Burger King employee because they said it's a whole meal we are doing, so probably representing Burger King, right? And, yeah, there you have it. Looks to be a meal coming to the US. Now, if you're a Burger King fan, this is exciting for you. If you are not a Burger King fan, you probably do not care. Or maybe you're excited because you get little figurines and cups. Who knows? But anyways, guys, this has been a little fun video for me to make. Like I said, not too much news going on in the world of Dragon Ball, but somehow still a 22-minute video. That's why I put timestamps in these to begin with. If you're complaining about the length of the videos, I have timestamps for you, so that way you can skip around and watch the stuff that you actually care about. Anyways, that will be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Dragon Ball news and commentary, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace off.